are making a lot of noise at AT&T Stadium.
Anything that moves between these lines, got to get dealt with.
10, 5, and he streaks in. Deep to the post to Lamb. At the 5 to the goal line.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Halloween might be in the rear-view mirror, but what once a sanctuary for the men in silver and blue has now turned into a house of horrors. The Cowboys have fallen in 4 straight games at AT&T Stadium. This time it was the Philadelphia Eagles that came out on top, 34-6, the final score in Week 10 of the NFL season. The Cowboys now at 3-6. And not looking to turn things around anytime soon. It has been a tough run for the Cowboys. 4 straight losses at home, 4 straight losses overall. He's Nate Newton, the 3-time Super Bowl champ. I'm Kyle Youmans, breaking down this Cowboys loss. And Nate, I think it starts early and often for the defense. They had some opportunity, they had chances, and the offense just didn't take advantage of them. And that's ultimately what worked into a victory for the Eagles.
If you had told me that Saquon would have had less than 80 yards total, I would have been like, we won this game.
Yeah.
We got picks. Trayvon got a pick. Overshown got 2 sacks. Parsons got 2 sacks and a fumble. The defense came and did what they had to do until the third quarter when it just all fell apart.
Let's see how this one unfolded from the get-go. Of course, Dak Prescott out today. Cooper Rush starting at quarterback, 5-1 as a Cowboys starter. He's taking on Jalen Hurts for the first time in his career. Scoreless in the first, Dallas on their second drive of the game. Cooper Rush turning to give it to Rico Dowdle. He fumbles the handoff. Philly recovers at the Dallas 17, and 4 plays later, the Eagles at the goal line, where they've been so efficient all year long, take a 7-0 lead. Dallas would answer with a field goal. Into the second we go. First play of the quarter, Jalen Hurts aiming for Dallas Goedert in the end zone. He finds Trayvon Diggs instead. Big stop for the defense, even bigger confidence boost for Trayvon Diggs. Time winding down in the second. Dallas moving the ball on offense. This one, Rico Dowdle goes for 19 yards into Philly territory. Then, on the 15th play of the drive, Dallas rolling, closing in on Pater. They give it to Ezekiel Elliott. Elliott gives it right to the Eagles and the defense in the end zone for the recovery. Just an unfortunate break and another red zone turnover for the Cowboys as they give it back to the Eagles. Tough break for Dallas, but there's someone that made their return on the defense today. His name was Micah Parsons, the Lion. Forces the fumble. Maris Leofow with the recovery. Dallas with their 5th sack of the first half, and they take over at the 6-yard line. They did have to settle for a field goal after Philadelphia had a 3rd down stop. Now, Philly got the ball back with a minute and 43 seconds left in the half. They only needed 1:20 of it to find Dallas Goedert in the end zone. First touchdown of the year for the star tight end. Philly leads it 14-6 at the break. Second drive of the third quarter, much of the same for Philadelphia. They go 7 plays and find a wide-open Johnny Wilson in the end zone. Touchdown, Philly. Then after a Dallas 3-and-out, Philly goes 7 plays again. This time it's capped off by an 8-yard touchdown scramble from Jalen Hurts to make it 28-6 Eagles. Vibes were currently down for the Cowboys, but this one felt like an all-new low. Cooper Rush sacked on the play. Ball is loose. Terrence Steele, who allowed the sack to happen, tries to salvage the play, but instead he kerfuffles the football. Hunter Lipke can't get there in time. Philadelphia turns it into 3 points. They would tack on another 3 by the end of this one. Nick Sirianni and company hand Dallas their 6th loss of the season. Handshakes after the game and a frustration building after the game as well for the Cowboys. 34-6 the final scores. We leave you with some of the final stats brought to you by Miller Lite. When we come back, we were outside this locker room at AT&T Stadium while Jerry Jones addressed the media. We hear from the president, owner, and GM of the Cowboys. When we come back, more Cowboys Game Night coming up in a matter of moments.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Another loss for the Cowboys here at AT&T Stadium. The frustration building for Dallas and especially for this front office. Jerry Jones addressing the media after the game.
Guys, I'll answer your questions, but last 2 games here, we've had 5 turnovers each game. We played a team. It was a good team out there today. We got some more of them to play too. You can't win games turning the ball over 5 times. So that's what we've got.
Gary, is this frustrating as you've been with the team in this situation?
Well, I'm just frustrated like everybody else is, but since I had a lot to do with what we're seeing, then it's the proper frustration as far as I'm concerned, that we're just not playing in a way, especially when you play a team that is the caliber of teams that we're playing out here. And Philadelphia is a high caliber team, and we're not up to them. And that's troubling. And we've got to look at all the things that have happened. But I'll just say this right now, 5 turnovers over the last 2 games. And I don't know what we're drinking in the third quarter as we come out, but it's not working.
Jerry, can you confirm that Dak will have season-ending surgery?
I won't know because we're still evaluating him.
Do you still have hope for this season that things can turn around?
Well, listen, I don't even understand not having hope. Now, we've got, 8 more ball games? If you'll help me with my arithmetic here, since I can't do some other things right. So, bottom line is that we've got 8 ball games. That used to be 80% of a college season. That's a lot of football left. We've got a lot to work on that we can do better than that. But we're within striking distance as we came out for the third quarter. And that's very disappointing that we did all the things we did and end up with a game like that.
If Dak cannot.
I think that was interesting there at the end, what he had to say. There is a lot of season left, but even if it's best case scenario, you win out from here, you finish 11-6. That should be good enough to get you into the playoffs. But I think all of us here realistically can look at this team and say, you're not going to win out from this point forward. What did you think about Jerry's thoughts there and how he's kind of addressing what is happening here in Dallas?
He's taking the pressure off the players. I mean, he's saying it's everybody. So I'm the owner, I'm the GM, I'm the president, it's the head coach, it's this guy's. It's everybody's problem. We understand that it's everybody's problem. But you have 57 guys or 53 guys that go out there and expect you to do a job. You have a head coach that is expected to do a job. So all of this is going to fall on one or the other entity. And 9 times out of 10, it falls on the head coach to get with his offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, which he is one of those guys, and make sure he play a full game. We haven't played a full game since Cleveland. We had a nice first half against Atlanta, fell apart. We had a nice first half against this team, fell apart. Got to make a few wrinkles here and there, and the players just have to play better.
So what you're saying is Jerry is pointing inward as opposed to pointing fingers elsewhere.
Yes, he is. He's been a team player.
He's being a team player. That's not necessarily the case for everybody in this locker room right now. When we come back, let's hear from Micah Parsons. There's a little pink finger pointing at the end of this soundbite. We'll hear from it, and Micah Parsons' first game back, couple of sacks, but a loss against Philadelphia. More Cowboys game night right after this.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Second and 9. And the ball comes out this time. It was Parsons who forced it. And the Cowboys recover at the 5-yard line.
It was good seeing Micah Parsons back in the fold on the defensive side of the football, helping force a fumble here that was recovered by Maris Leofau. He had 2 sacks in his first game back from injury, suffering a high ankle sprain earlier in the campaign. Here's what he had to say following the loss inside the locker room here at AT&T Stadium.
Try to keep hope alive to get things back.
Yeah, we had a great message in chapel this week, man. You got to be the light. Even when other sides of that offense light isn't shining as hard as past, that offense has always kind of shined brighter than us, and we kind of needed their juice to big us up. We got to be the offense's light this time. Every time we had a turnover, I looked at the guy and said, we knew some bad shit was gonna happen. I mean, that's where we at with this. So, but we got to be the light. We got to hold them to 3. And, I think they earned one good drive. Before half, I give them that drive, but, I feel like some things gave them some aspects of the game gave them those other touchdowns. But, overall, I'm happy for these defensive guys, how they played. Obviously, you want some plays back, a couple of those penalties cost us, but I'm happy in the direction where we're going.
How's your ankle feeling?
Right now, I'm juiced up, so I'm probably cool, but I might be in a boot tomorrow.
Hey, Micah, how demoralizing was it when you got the fumble on the 6 and you weren't able to punch it in and take the lead and settle for a field goal and made it 7-6?
Hey, like I said, be the light. You can't let it get to you. Understand that, our quarterback's out. Things ain't always going to be how you expect it. And you kind of just got to be the light, and I just sideline, bringing the guys back up. It's all right. We got to do our job. We just got to get the ball back. So, it's one of them years where, like I said, it's challenging, but we got to be the light for everybody.
Where were you when you heard the news about Dak? What was your reaction? And with him out, do you have to be more of a leader on game day? Yeah,
for sure. I think this team needs a heart, a soul. Obviously missing Dak and his energy, the things that he brings to this game. As I try to do that for our defense, I got to do it for the offensive guys too, and play harder and do everything I can to build this team back up.
What was your reaction?
Obviously devastating. Many times you lose your starting quarterback that you kind of banking on. It hurts everybody.
And just as you're coming back, he's going on.
Yeah, just as I'm coming back.
Mike's on the final year of his contract, so outside there's of course going to be questions. What's the sentiment inside the locker room, and what do you tell people who are wondering about whether McCarthy will be your coach next year?
That's above my pay grade about if Mike is coaching again next year. But all coaching aside, Mike can leave and go wherever he wants. But the guys, I kind of feel bad for his guys like Zach Martin and guys who might be on their last year or on their way out. Because that's who I wanted to hold the trophy for. You want to win games and do great things with those type of legends who put in more time and work than Mike McCarthy ever did. So those are the kind of guys that I have so much sympathy and hurt for.
You guys were 2-2 when you got hurt.
You heard it there, Micah Parsons, more time and work in than Mike McCarthy ever did. That is his quote, and in context, it's talking about how he wants it better for the players outside of Mike McCarthy, like Zach Martin was the example he used there. Some hard words to share there from Micah Parsons. Your reaction as a former player who's been through some frustrating times on how Micah handled that situation.
If this season turned out to be really bad, let's see what you think then. I've been on a 1-15, 3-13, so I've been in some tight situations, but it never was me trying to check a coach or have those type comments about a coach or even saying, hey, I want to win it for this player. I want to just be the best player that I can be. He mentioned in there about being a leader. You stepping on the offense. Every time you say something that's out of line, or you got to be a light. Be careful how you phrase things because your day will come around too.
That's heavy specifically because when it looks like the lowest of the lows, and the Cowboys are in the middle of their longest losing streak since 2020, longest home losing streak since 2015. It is the lowest of the lows for the Cowboys, and it doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon. So that's where the frustration continues to build from a Micah Parsons element there. You can sense it, but you still can't necessarily say it, and that's where I think the lack of awareness there was certain. Now, when we come back, let's hear from Ezekiel Elliott. He did have a tough fumble at the goal line, one of his only carries of the day, turning into a turnover for the Philadelphia defense. More from Cowboys Game Night in AT&T Stadium right after this.
To watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Side leverage, and your job's to come over and help. Zeke gets the call. Elliott, the ball pops out, and DeJean recovers in the end zone.
Mike McCarthy talked about it post-game. The defense did their job early, but takeaways can derail an entire game. The Cowboys lost 4 fumbles, that being the most significant. The Cowboys were driving to go up by at least 3 points in that regard if they find the end zone. Instead, Ezekiel Elliott puts the ball on the ground. Here's what he had to say in the locker room following the loss.
Yeah, we've been talking about third quarters just haven't been good for us. You go in, down 1 score. Just kind of got away from us. I think the main thing is taking care of the football. I think the defense did a great job going to get the ball. And offense, we didn't take care of it well enough.
Let's talk about that fumble for the rest of the elephant in the room, so to speak. What happened on that play? Because I think it punched it out.
I think I gotta go back and look at it, but I think the guy just, he got his helmet on the ball. I think right there, I just gotta, go two hands or I can't. That's unacceptable. Fumble in the red zone is disgusting. Makes my stomach hurt. But yeah.
Go back to yesterday. You saw the news break about Dak reportedly being done for the season. When you got that news, what was your feeling?
It sucks. It sucks. But he's got to take care of himself. He got to, make sure that, he's good. And a guy like that, he's going to be out there if he can. It sucks. That's our leader. But, we just got to come together as a group and keep fighting.
How can you?
So Ezekiel Elliott talking about the turnovers, talking about the situation. He even said it there that the defense did their job early. You got to take care of the football. And then the third quarter has been a bugaboo for this Cowboys team. Outscored today 14-0 in the third quarter alone. They are now minus 60 on the season in that frame, 82-22. Your thoughts on the running game or lack thereof in the offense in general?
We did it in the first half. Rico Dowdle, Zeke got a few touches, but right there is what we brought Zeke back for short yardage, red zone. He got to slam it up in there. He had it covered, great hit, but you can't let that ball go because, like you said, we would have been up by 3. We needed those points, and it hurt us terribly.
Yeah. We've heard from Micah, we've heard from Jerry, we've heard from Zeke about what happened today, but what's next for the Cowboys? We'll wrap things up on Cowboys Game Night right after this.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
A yard out. He ran it in. Pushed it across, I should say. Here he's looking to the end zone. And, what a breakup. Did he catch it? Did he pick it? Oh, my goodness. Diggs comes away with the football.
Keeping you on a high note here on Cowboys Game Night. Trayvon Diggs with a big-time interception in the back of the end zone to help that Cowboys defense give an opportunity to the offense to try and make something happen. Unfortunately for the Cowboys, they finished under 150 yards total for the first time since Week 7 of 2020. Alongside Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans. We are wrapping things up outside the locker room here at AT&T Stadium. The next time the Cowboys will be on the field 8 days from now, November 18th, as they welcome in the Houston Texans. The Texans continuing to win football games in the AFC. I've asked you this the last 3 weeks following a loss. I'm going to ask it again. How do the Cowboys turn things around? Because there's been a lot of finger pointing, and you've usually said you got to look inward. Is that continuing to be the case?
Just like Mr. Jones said, everybody's got to take their part of the blame. Players, look at how you play, work on your techniques. Awesome Richard, I think it was a plus. Yeah. Having Parsons back was a plus. Having Trayvon Diggs get the interception was a plus. Having Overshown play the way he played, got hurt, but he told us himself that he would be back. There's some pluses on this team, but it's a lot of inconsistencies. And if we can fix those inconsistencies, we should be okay.
And that's a learning lesson, no doubt about it. We always give out either good pancakes, the best pancakes in the world, or the burnt pancakes. Who's got to be better going into that game?
It's always going to be Donovan Wilson because they're going to pick on him. He's a box safety, and they're asking him to play out of position, and they're asking him to play back deep and to just cover guys one-on-one. That is not his dig. So, Zim, you are my burnt pancake today.
Zim?
Yes, Zim.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Zim.
So it's going to be Mike Zimmer.
Yes, sir.
I think there's a lot to grow on. Like you said, there were moments of this game that looked like the Cowboys of the 12-5 seasons. But this is not that team because you've now lost 6 games. You got to find a way to turn it around and right the ship, even without some of your top dogs available. For Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans. That does it for us from AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys fall 34-6 to 5.